me. My name is Jennifer Scott. I am the immediate past chair of the Dallas Conscious Cap Board. And on behalf of the board, I would like to welcome you all here. We do have a couple members on the board. If I can ask you to turn on your cameras for a brief shining moment. Let's see, I can do this from our list here. I've got Lauren. Lauren is our Marcom co-chair. We have Elise and Shelley, our membership co-chairs.
Hello.
Mr. Chris Carrion, who is our programming chair. Who else is here? I see Danielle, who is our past chair. Nice to see you, Danielle. It is exciting. I'm super pumped for the first of our 4 quarterly lunch and learns this year. We're trying something new as we can. I think turning a focus to really exploring different facets of the tenets of conscious capitalism in another way. So if you were with us at our last chapter event, we had a great conversation on purpose in business and heart-centered leadership, very focused on the tenet of having a higher purpose in business. And today I'm super pumped to introduce Terri, which I will do in a moment, who's going to give us the perspective on purpose and profit, knowing that, you kind of need profit in order to fulfill your purpose. And so super excited to hear sort of the other side of this coin as we talk about purpose as the first tenet of conscious capitalism. So this morning, or really this afternoon, I'd like to just do a little check-in. Don't feel obligated, but if you could unmute yourself and tell us how you're showing up today.
I'll go. I'll break the ice. So,
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes. So I'm Cindy Love Tysinger. I'm here from Denton, Texas, and my company is Regenerous, being regenerative in all we do and generous. We have a wellness center. So for me, I'm feeling really content. It's a good time of year and lots of great meetings and information and a lot of conscious things going on in the world. So I'm content and happy.
Thank you. Someone else want to share?
I'm happy to share. My name is Nicholas Clay. I'm in upstate New York.
Ooh.
And my company is Being One World, which is a mindfulness-based coaching, healing company. And always happy to be in the room with Terri. So it's good to be here.
And this is Elizabeth Ice, and I'm really happy to be here too. And I'm excited because this is a meeting between ShiftCo and Conscious Capitalism. And I just think it's great to have 2 organizations of like mind, because the more power, the better. And I'm a purpose-driven entrepreneur, and I match small businesses with vetted virtual freelancers so they can scale. And as Terri is tired of hearing, there's 27 million solopreneurs in the United States. And they all have a back room and need help. And there's another 6 million small businesses with less than 20 employees. So there's a lot of backroom work that great virtual assistants can do to free people up to pursue their purpose.
Love it. Thank you.
Michelle Baker, I'm known as the Chief Confidence Igniter. Really excited for the pairing of Terri and Conscious Capitalism. I speak on all things confidence, imposter, and leadership, and I'm known for passionate about translating and transforming the perception of chaos into a profitable confidence. Excited to be here today.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Stevenson. I'm with LJB CPA. I'm very excited to learn more about conscious capitalism. This is Walter, my second time here with you guys, so it's fun to learn, and we're excited. So thank you for having us.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm hearing content, excited, happy. This is a great group. Does anyone else want to share? How are you showing up today?
Hello, everyone. My name is Magdalena, and I am in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This is my first Conscious Capitalism meeting, and I have been a member for a while, though. My company is a procurement strategy group, and I specialize in procurement for conferences, meetings, events, company retreats, and I'm super happy to be here, and I'm very curious about today's topic.
Excellent. Thank you. Curious is a new one. I love that. I live in curiosity. I try to live in curiosity. I don't always succeed. Anyone else want to share?
Hello, I am Arden Dudek, and this is my first exposure to conscious capitalism. I met with Terri Maxwell just a week or two ago as we were networking. I am in transition geographically from Central Texas to Fort Worth, as well as in employment. And as part of my employment journey, I'm also activating a coaching and consulting business focused in on leadership and project management. And so I'm very curious and excited to be here today. So thank you for the welcome.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, I
Corey,
can
do
jump
you want
in real
to
quick.
read
Sorry.
that out? Or should I read it for you? There you go.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Jones, CEO of Prism Work and Committee Chair for Be Local Texas. I am so excited to join. This is my first Lunch and Learn for Conscious Cap Dallas. Have been really excited about plugging into this community over the past few months. I officially joined Conscious Cap Dallas last week and had a great experience there and at an event, and I'm excited to again connect with Terri. I'm so blown away every time she presents, and have been excited to be a partner with her through Be Local Texas. And so just excited to show up and hear more nuggets from Terri.
Thank you, Corey. It's always great seeing you.
Hey, Jennifer, Scott Drake here, Des Moines, Iowa. I work with IOTA. We're an employee wellness company. And I've been working with Terri and Shifco for a couple months now, and it's just been fantastic, just terrific. And I was eager to visit with everyone today in the meeting with Conscious Cap in Dallas. It's my first meeting, and so far the energy is great. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who are sharing that it's your first Lunch and Learn with Conscious Cap Dallas, it's our first Lunch and Learn for Conscious Cap Dallas. So very, very excited about this. I have the pleasure of introducing, and now you guys have all heard how awesome Terri is. I feel like I don't even need to introduce her. She kind of just can join without even me saying anything. So that being said, I am honored to introduce you all, for those of you who don't know her, Terri Maxwell, who is the founder of Share on Purpose, which is, I don't know, I don't want to call it a holding company. That's not really right, but Terri does lots of work with purpose-driven entrepreneurs in many different ways. So you heard Shiftco mentioned. Shiftco is a business growth platform for conscious entrepreneurs. Under the Share on Purpose portfolio is also Ignite on Purpose, which is a growth strategy firm. Succeed on Purpose helps folks find their purpose. So working more with the entrepreneur, the budding entrepreneur, so to speak, and helping them find their purpose. talent on purpose to build performance cultures and transforming companies into what a conscious company should be, right? A great place to work. And promote on purpose, which is a PR and marketing firm. Terri is also an investor in helping purpose-driven companies really launch and find their place in the market. And it's very exciting to introduce to you the person who is the first person I thought of to speak with us today for our first Lunch and Learn. So the concept of capitalism being a dirty word it's time for that to go away. The concept of capitalism being the force for good in this world is an idea whose time has come, right? Profit is not a bad word. It's something that we all need as business owners, or we don't have businesses. Profit is a means to fulfill our business's higher purpose, and hopefully as individual entrepreneurs and business owners, our own individual life's purpose. And understanding how business needs to function in a conscious way to make that profit in a conscious way is really what we're here today to learn about. So I am thrilled to turn this over to Terri Maxwell.
Thank you. So good to be here, everybody. Thanks so much for the warm welcome. I have been involved with conscious capitalism since I had my own purposeful awakening. And what I misunderstood in the beginning is conscious business is really about you as the founder as much as it is your company. And what I learned is our businesses grow as we evolve, and conscious capitalism has really helped me do that. So if you're not yet a member, I would encourage you to join because receiving the grounding of the principles of conscious capitalism will help you evolve. My passion is in really growing companies. So if you tuned in today, I don't need to tell you the importance of purpose or even conscious capitalism. I don't need to remind you how important those things are. What I can share is a proven formula to grow your business so that you can increase your impact in the world. And so in the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to share a couple of very powerful techniques with you. And then you'll walk away with probably 2 to 3 things that you can put in play right away. To understand this idea of, it's really about purpose plus value plus growth equals a maximized impact. And that's what we're really going to focus on today. I'm going to introduce what I call the 4 phases of generating demand authentically, so people want to buy from you. And when we get into that, you're going to be able to walk away with something today you can put in play. I'll also talk about how to turn customers into fanatics so they'll grow your brand with you. And then we're going to talk about how to communicate value, because all of us, if you're connected to conscious capitalism, value is a big part of that. And you understand that, but sometimes it's not always easy to communicate that, as I certainly learned. I like to say that I started my career 15 years ago as a conscious capitalist, failing at doing good. There's no other way to say it. Prior to starting Share on Purpose, which is kind of like a purposeful Shark Tank, I had about a 25-year career growing companies. I'd been president of an internet company. We took that company public on the NASDAQ stock exchange. After that, I built a 40-person consulting company, some of the largest brands in the world. And so in 2009, early 2009, when I sold everything in 2008 and started over with this crazy idea, there has to be a way to make money and do good, I thought I was the only person in the world, of course, until I found conscious capitalism and found out that there's millions of other people like me. But what was interesting is a lot of the techniques that I knew, again, 25 years of success, consistently growing companies. When I started Share on Purpose and we began investing in companies, for those first couple of years, most of what I knew about growing companies didn't work. And at the same time, now that I was on this purposeful path, I was feeling myself having this resistance to growing the business. And I really had to work through both of those things. One, the fact that most of what I knew about growing companies for the last several decades didn't work as a conscious company. And secondly, that, that I had resistance. I wanted to focus on purpose and doing good. And at the same time, I knew that I needed to grow these businesses that I was investing in and the ones that we started. So what I want to say is value is good, especially when it grows. And one of the things I pride myself on is I'm willing to do something different. And that's what it really took for me to create this methodology that I'm going to share with you today, is I had to be willing to do something different. So as I was in this journey, 2009, 2010, 2011, and I've invested a lot of money in companies, and it was just failing. I mean, I was losing so much money, I can't even think about it. But I started with that failure with this idea, all right, well, what does something different look like? And I remember the day that I just said, you know what, I'm going to throw out all the marketing stuff that I know, and I'm just going to serve people. And everywhere I go, I'm just going to try to serve them. And lo and behold, it started to work and things started to turn around. And I thought, okay. And then, of course, I wanted to go back to the marketing things that I know, and then it didn't work anymore. So I saw this parallel in addition to this resistance that I was having. So this whole solidification then of how do you grow your business while being purposeful, while being committed to serving. And although I had developed the method that I'm going to show you in about 2 minutes that you guys are welcome to use, what I didn't understand is the impetus for us as conscious entrepreneurs is very different than a traditional business. In 2020, Share on Purpose commissioned a study because we were trying to understand what is it that's different about conscious business. We could tell there's all these differences. Well, what is it that's different? And what we found is these are our 3 big takeaways. When a traditional business creates a product, the questions they're asking themselves is, will someone buy this? Whereas a conscious business says, will this solve a problem? So just think about that. The genesis of every product in a traditional business, if you think about it, if you've had a corporate career, I know I did. I remember the products up on the map that we thought about launching, and it was always, is someone going to buy that? How much wood can we sell? Whereas a conscious business says, will this solve a problem? So that's the values that are inherent in a lot of the conscious capitalism principles. The second thing is on pricing. A traditional business says, what will someone pay? What's the market value of this? And a conscious business says, how much is this worth? And you find this beautiful balance in conscious companies where it's about the value and it's priced based on value. That doesn't mean it's underpriced. And it certainly doesn't mean it's overpriced. It's really just based on the value. How much is it worth? And then one of my favorites is success. In my 25 years in corporate America as a top executive in major companies, the conversation was always, how much money can we make? Whereas in conscious business, it's, can we make a difference? And how can we also make a profit while we're making a difference? One of my favorite conscious capitalism members, you guys know him very well, has a phrase that says, no money, no mission. And I lived that in the first couple of years of Share on Purpose. We weren't making any money. And our mission was beautiful. And we got written up in the New York Times and all this kind of stuff. And oh my gosh, isn't this wonderful? But we weren't making money. And if you can't figure out how to grow your business profitably, you're really limiting your impact. So from that perspective, I want to introduce a method that is really about combining your purpose, your individual purpose. My purpose is to inspire potential. I was born to do that. Your company's purpose, whatever that might be, which is your reason for that company to be existing. The concept of value, and I will come back full circle, and we're going to come back to how to talk about value. with this idea of growth, because when you combine purpose plus value plus growth, your impact is going to increase. And that's really what we're here for at any given point. Now, if you think about the typical marketing funnel, okay, and it's called a funnel, we've all heard that phrase. It works something like this. Are people aware that you exist? Okay, great. Are they interested in what you have to offer or say? Do they want it? And then do they take action? So we've all seen funnel. We've all heard of lead magnets and click funnels and all this kind of stuff. The challenge that they have is they are all designed to get someone to buy. Think about that. And this is where that dissonance comes in place with marketing or growth, is we don't want to feel like we're trying to get someone to buy. And I had this exact same struggle in 2009, 2010, 2011. I not only was it not working, but I had this dissonance. It just didn't feel right for me to use these old aggressive marketing techniques that I had known very well. And so I kept asking myself, okay, if I just serve people, that's working. Great. And I started speaking for free and doing all these different things just to help people. And I was like, okay, well, how do I systematize this? How can I create demand for the services of the companies I've invested in, as well as the companies we created, but also be authentic? And that authenticity, of course, is very important. And so what I created was a system that I call authentic demand generation. We use it in all 5 of our businesses. And we teach it, obviously. 2 of our businesses, we've built whole businesses around this system. And what authentic demand generation is, it's a methodology to serve your buyer before they buy, not to try to get them to buy. That intention is not authentic. Trying to get someone to buy, even hoping they will buy, that's not really about authenticity. It's not about value. What it's designed to do is systematically serve the buyer before they buy as you're building a relationship with them. And if you think about it, that concept, I remember I was like, oh yeah, this is like 2012. And I was like, serve the buyer before they buy. Now that before they buy, I'm going to come back to that several times because that's a really important piece in this. And I knew that both the serving them was important, but also the building a relationship. And I started noticing as I was changing, as I was attending conscious capitalism events, and I was learning what it meant to be a conscious capitalist and a leader, relationships and trust are a big part of that. And so I started thinking, okay, this method that I'm going to create has to be about relationships. And I started thinking about stages of relationships rather than a marketing funnel. How do we think about it as stages of relationships? So in the beginning, we become friends. Now, in today's social media world, that is a loosely defined term because friends could just mean we're connected on LinkedIn. And by the way, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, let's do that, because I love to share my network with people. Friends. So we're friends, right? Or it could be friends like we're going to have coffee together. So that's like the first stage of a relationship. The second stage of a relationship is I'm actually interested in what you have to offer and what you have to say. I know that shortly after I met Jennifer and Danielle, and we were talking about ways that we could collaborate, I was like, these are people that I really want. I want to know their company. I want to know what they do. I want to know who they are. And so I became a follower of them and a follower of their companies. I was interested in learning more. Now, that didn't mean I wanted to buy anything. It just meant that I was following them and their companies on LinkedIn. I was following what they were posting. I was paying attention to them. Hey, let's go have coffee. I want to get to know you better. And those 2 stages are what I have found is the magic of an authentic demand generation system. The more friends that you have and the more friends who follow that you have, the easier it is to grow your company. And I began a systematic way of mastering those first 2 steps. Now, the third step is when the relationship evolves, and now I actually am beginning to desire what it is that you're selling. So I remember a meeting, I was like, okay, now tell me again what you do. because there's a collaboration over here. I think I could introduce you to that company, or, you know, I think we might need those services. And I want to learn enough about what you do so I know that it's a fit for us. And I like to call this, I'm becoming a fan, which might mean that I'm trying an event that you have, or I'm maybe buying once just to kind of see what it's like. And then number 4 is really the key, because in an inauthentic marketing system, it's all about number 4. It's all about conversion. We got to get the conversion up. And when you're in marketing, you're always analyzing the conversion of everything. Now, I know as a marketer, you have to do that. But the intention is in a traditional marketing engine is I want to get you to buy. And so I started rethinking that. I said, okay, well, if I build more fans who maybe buy once, what would happen if that we changed that act up and it became that they purchased again, and or that they referred other people to me? So what I found is your fans who either try something that you're doing and maybe buy once, if their experience with your company is good, they will evolve into a fanatic. And the real magic is if you can create fans and fanatics from your friends who follow, your growth is going to be a lot less effort than it might feel today. But more importantly, you're going to enjoy it because it's going to feel authentic and it's going to feel like part of who you are. So what I'm going to go through here is to actually show you how to do this, and so you can walk away with tips on how to make this happen. So let's now think of these traditional marketing funnel: aware, interest, desire, act. And instead of thinking of it like a funnel, we're going to think about it as a series of steps in a relationship. So as a friend, I might meet you at this event. So I've got some new friends today. And maybe you'll click on my bio, maybe, I don't know, but you're now aware that I exist and vice versa. I'm now aware that you exist. So I made some mental notes of people like, oh, I want to get to know them because I've got, you know, I can make this intro to that person. So we're now friends, right? We're aware that each other exists. When that relationship evolves and we become interested, I want to connect with you on LinkedIn. Maybe I'm going to share an insight that you have. I'm going to follow your posts. And maybe I want to meet with you and have coffee and learn more because I'm interested. That doesn't mean I want to buy from you. It just means I'm interested in growing the relationship. And then as the relationship evolves, those followers become fans, and they might attend an event where you're speaking, or they might purchase once, depending on what it is that the product or service that you sell. And then over time, those fans, if they have a good experience with your brand, will become fanatics. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well, where they buy, they share, and they refer others as well. So this is what the system looks like. And the steps to do it, there's 3 steps. The step that most entrepreneurs skip is, where is my ideal client? I call those channels. So if you think about where your target market is, one of our members recently was saying, you know, I've spent a year in this group over here, and I realized after a year that that's not where my ideal buyer is. My ideal buyer is over here in Conscious Capitalism. And I'm like, great, you need to join Conscious Capitalism. So you really need to think about where your buyer is. That's where you're going to reach them. It's where they're tuning in. Instead of thinking they're just going to come to you, that's old marketing. Old marketing is, I'm going to market to you enough that you come to me. Authentic demand generation turns that around and says, I'm going to go where you are. And so I've dedicated my life to networking and collaborating where conscious businesses are, because that's who I want to serve. So the where part we skip because we kind of have some of those old marketing techniques ingrained in us. The second thing is what are the activities that you're going to do, and how are you going to do them in such a way that they're authentic and you actually enjoy them? And I'm going to give you a list of those. We'll send out a PDF afterwards with the full list, so you don't think you have to take notes. But we've created this little system where you can think through the activities. The key, with the activities is it needs to be something you enjoy. For example, in spite of the fact that I speak on large stages all the time, I am a huge introvert, painfully an introvert. If I go to a networking event, it takes me a day to recover because I'm so introverted. So networking is hard for me. I can do it. I can do, maybe 3-4 events a year, but boy, they just zap my energy. So networking isn't necessarily going to be one of the ways that I'm going to choose because it's too hard. I might choose podcasts. I might choose speaking, blogs, social. And you're going to have this system here to choose from in a minute. But the key is you want to choose things you enjoy. Because if you're doing things where your target market is, they're going to sense whether or not you're in joy, or they're going to sense if it feels painful. I'm one of those people at a networking event. I'm like, okay, where's the corner of the room? I'm going to, get my cup of drink and whatever my snack is, and then I'm going to start fading into the background because it's just too much for me. So people pick up on that, and therefore I'm not a great networker in live events. So you have to really know yourself, and it has to be activities that you enjoy. Third thing is, how do you actually grow the relationship through those phases? Not how do you get someone to buy, but how do you actually grow the relationship? That's really what we're doing. We're not attached to someone purchasing. What we're really intending is that our relationship grows and it goes wherever it needs to be. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the last part. So I'll just skip that right now. So let's kind of talk through for a second. You've worked out where your ideal buyer is. And, it could be places they are online. Maybe if you have consumer products, it could be networking events. If you're selling B2B, doesn't matter. But you really want to know where they are, because you've got to go to them. And that's one of the pieces that people forget. For example, let's say that you have a makeup product and you want to promote the makeup product, and you really want to tell people about it. Well, one of the things you might do is there's lots of Facebook groups for people who like makeup. And you could join those groups and you could hang out and you could talk to people. You could go to live events. You could speak about your makeup line. But the key is you have to go where they are. Second is the activities. We're going to go through that. And then, of course, the how of the relationships. So this is the map. And at the end, I'll clean it all up, create a PDF, and get it to Kim so she can send it to you guys. I'm only going to talk about what we call priority channels and partner channels first. Paid, although you can do that very authentically. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm just going to focus on priority and partner. So in the beginning, when we start a business in our portfolio, or when we're investing in a business, the first thing that I do is talk to people I know. Not to get them to buy. Elizabeth, who introduced herself earlier, she's member number 3 in ShiftCo. And when I was having kind of the epiphany of why I wanted to create ShiftCo, I said, hey, what do you think about this? And again, I wasn't asking her to invest in ShiftCo. I wasn't asking her to buy anything. I just wanted to know what she thought about it. You also can do free and discount trials. You have to be careful with that because it can attract the wrong target market. Flyers and leave behinds, this is going to sound crazy, but I have cards that I carry in my purse, one for Succeed on Purpose and one for ShiftCo. Everywhere I go, I leave them. And they're not designed to get anyone to buy. They're really nice. They have inspirational quotes on them, but they have our web address. And we, both in Succeed on Purpose and ShiftCo, have had people say, I was in this restaurant, I saw this card sticking there and it was really pretty. And this quote really spoke to me, and I went to your website. So as crazy as that sounds, and I just believe that. I just believe that I'm going to build awareness. Now, what's interesting about the flyers, leave behinds, or we call them drop cards, there's nothing in there, no discount, buy today. It's really a service. So when I leave that card and it's got a quote on there, it's an inspirational quote. It's a thought-provoking quote. And whether or not someone takes it and comes to our website or not is not the point. It's done in service. So all of these are done in service. Relationship activities would be live networking, LinkedIn and Facebook groups. So I told you I'm such an introvert in networking that it's really painful, but I can network really well on LinkedIn and Facebook groups because it's not that as introverts, the people, physical relationship, physical connection wears you out. But I do a lot of networking on LinkedIn and Facebook groups. Referral activities. You can ask for referrals as long as it's done in the right way. You can offer referral discounts. Educational activities, blog posts, webinars, tools, digital social, daily post tips, speaking. You can speak for free. You can offer free programs. And what I always say is when you're implementing a demand generation system, start with these lists first, figure out which ones you enjoy, and then create more ideas like that. On the partnering side, partnering can be very difficult if you're not in alignment. So you really have to be careful of when you're setting up partners. I always look for how can I serve my partners. When you have the right partners, sometimes I'll trade services with them as I'm getting to know them. From a relationship, you can develop alliance partners. One of my favorite partner groups is an organization called The Connective. And The Connective, it's kind of like a referral alliance platform and a community all together. It's all they do. It feels very much like a community. They've got chapters. You can go nationally, you can go locally, but and you start to network with people that would be a good partner for you, and you create these alliances where there's a win-win. Referral activities, partner discounts, give gets, educational, be a guest on a show, a radio podcast, digital, social, online partners, speaking, you can sponsor events. And again, there's dozens and dozens of others, but you would choose from this list second. Now, again, I'm not going to get into the paid, but when I send this to you, I'll put the paid in there as well. So the key is you're going to say, all right, which of these do I like? And literally you could print it out and you could circle the ones you really like, and then ask yourself why. And that's what I did. And I was like, well, I don't like live networking because I'm an introvert and it tires me out. Oh, well, don't do that. Find another way to do it. So you're going to go with the ones that you really, really enjoy. And then you're just going to look for other things like that. Now, we'll get into what you do once you're out there and how you build those relationships in a minute, how you build them authentically. But the way to think about this little map here is these are things you're going to do. For me, it's day in and day out. But maybe it's, 3 times a week or something like that. You're going to do them on a regular basis as a way of growing your network, as a way of building more friends, as a way of creating friends who follow. And you're going to do them systematically. It shouldn't be the last thing on your to-do list. I highly recommend you put it on your calendar as a meeting with yourself to start building awareness and connecting and building that relationship with your buyer. So kind of think about the activities that you would enjoy, and you're going to choose 3, and you would do those. And you're going to really pay attention to the things you like and the things that you don't like. And you do those on a regular basis as a way. Your intention is not to get people to buy. Your intention is not even to grow. The intention is to build relationships and grow awareness that your business exists. By the way, one statistic that I will give you is the biggest mistake every single company makes. It doesn't matter whether they've just started or whether they're $1 million in revenue or whether they're 100 million in revenue or even $500,000 in revenue. 500 million in revenue. The biggest mistakes companies make is they don't generate enough awareness. And awareness, more friends, is your secret. That is how you will grow consistently, is you need more awareness. And it's one of the reasons why I hope that as you're tuning in today, or if you're tuning in after, start connecting with folks on LinkedIn. Like, these are your people, right? If you're a purposeful leader and you're building a conscious business, connect with the people in conscious capitalism, build relationships with them, ask to have a quick coffee chat to get to know each other with no intention other than building the relationship. So you identify a couple of the activities, you do those, and then you think about what other activities you would like to add. So let's come back to this relationship building framework. And by the way, we will take questions at the end. So friend is all about awareness. And by the way, you probably need 10 times more awareness than you have today to consistently grow your business. don't let that be daunting. It's not as hard as it seems. If you'll just get that habit in place of doing those activities to generate awareness before you know it, awareness will be building and growth will be coming from it. Secondly, you're looking for ways not to get someone to buy, not to get them to take a meeting with you, but to simply connect with them. One of the things that I will always do is I tell everybody that knows me, tag me in the comments of your post. I'll share your post with my network. Why? Because I want to build a relationship with you. I don't want anything from you, but I want to serve you. And then I ultimately want to get to learn about you and learn about your business. So friend to follower is really the magic. The more friends that you have who are really tuned into what you're doing, the faster your business will grow. And the more your business grows, the more impact you will create. And then when it comes to desire, I'm going to come back to this and really put a pin in that. Because the objective is never to get someone to buy or try to get them to desire your product. Most of the inauthentic marketing is really in the conversion. Oh, I'm doing a lead magnet and a click funnel and all this kind of stuff. Which if you think about the intentions, those are not pure. They are designed to try to get someone to buy. And what I can tell you is you can't make someone buy authentically. You can't get someone to buy authentically. My secret is I'm going to serve people until they are ready to buy. Let me say that again. You can't make or get people to want to buy, which is really desire. What you can do as a conscious capitalist and as a conscious founder, as a conscious business, is you can serve them until they are ready to buy. And hopefully they'll buy from you, but don't attach. Now, the beautiful thing about this is when you put this system in place, your customers will become fanatics. Because here's the thing, they met you, they became interested, you didn't force them to try to buy, you didn't pressure them, you didn't follow up and put kind of pound on them. They decided they were ready, they purchased, and then they had a great experience with your company. One of the reasons why I love working with conscious companies is because they care about their product, they care about their customers, they care about the people that work in their organization, and they're going to deliver, for the most part, a better experience. So because that customer met you in this very authentic way, and then they had a great experience, when you share some of those same things that you're sharing, whether it's on social media or a podcast or whatever you're doing, or networking, picture if you met somebody at a conscious capitalism event and you ended up doing business together and it was a great experience. And then 3 months later, you went to another conscious capitalism event and, oh my goodness, I want to introduce you to you because I had a great experience with you. And so what happens is your customers become fanatics, but I'm going to come back to that. I do, though, want to talk about very authentic ways to grow the relationship. So what we're going to talk about here is awareness to interest. And it's really about focusing on their problems and investing time. I like to think of this as I'm just going to serve my friends passionately. And that's what I did, quite honestly, in 2011 and 2012, when what I was doing wasn't working. Back then, we only had Succeed on Purpose and then several investments, and it wasn't working. And so I just said, well, throw all the marketing stuff away. I did billboards, I did paid ads. I did some direct mail, all this kind of inauthentic stuff. None of it worked. And I just said, all right, I'm just going to serve people and see what happens. And I just started speaking for free and how can I serve you? And I would help this group and that group. And the next thing you know, people were purchasing. So this just serve your friends passionately, even though I'm going to give you some techniques. I don't want you to overthink it. It's just really just serve people until they're ready to buy. And I'll show you how to do that. So a couple of examples, if you think about this, the secret to doing this is to add value before someone buys, So let's say I'm thinking about a new phone. Am I just going to order the new phone off of a website? No, I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to hold the phones. I'm going to talk to some people. And so what we're looking for before we buy is an experience. I want to know what it's like. Think about the grocery store. Having had a marketing company that grew a lot of brands that you know, Holy Guacamole, Mission Foods, Corner Bakery, I could go on and on, Target. They were some of my clients in the past. Sampling, right? So I come into the store and I get to sample this wonderful gluten-free carrot cake. And now I'm a fan of it because I got to sample it. So that's a big part of what we're talking about here is think about where your buyer is. Think about what it is they need before they buy from you. What information will help them? How will you be connected in a certain way? How can you serve them until they're ready to buy? And it's easy to think about with a physical product like a phone or sampling in the grocery store, but you can do this with any business, as I'm going to show you. One of my favorite investments that we've made at Share on Purpose is the world's first completely zero waste makeup line. I love this company. They're amazing. And one of the coolest things that we built for them is we built this little calculator of what's the environmental impact of your beauty routine. Now, if you think about that, wow. And so what happens is when we run awareness building ads and somebody isn't ready to buy, this little calculator comes up and it's just basically you calculate the environmental impact of your beauty routine and how many pieces of plastic you have in your beauty routine. That's an example of what we're talking about. Another of my favorite clients, longstanding, they've been a client for 8 years, is Acme Brick. Acme Brick has Build Your Dream Walls, try our masonry designer. So let's say you're thinking about maybe building a new house or adding an addition or maybe refacing your house in some way. And, I'm busy, I can't get to the showroom. You can actually go online and you can take a picture of a wall and you can try different bricks and colors and see, you can compare two together. So that's an example of I'm serving you before you buy. Now, both of those are products and they're larger businesses. I'm going to give you some really, really simple ones if you're just getting started in this or if you have a services business. But the question is not how to get someone to buy. The question is, what do your clients need before they buy a product or service that's similar to yours? Do they need information? So do they want to attend an event? So we have lots and lots of events. Those events, we don't ask people to join. They're there to serve people until they do. One of our other business, we create these little quizzes. These quizzes, they on their own, people share these quizzes. We hardly do any advertising with this business, and we probably get 30 to 50, sometimes 70 new friends who follow every single month because people are sharing these quizzes. And they were all designed from this pure intention of what does my buyer need before they buy? And remember, the purpose of these is not to get someone to buy, it's to serve them before they buy as you're building a relationship. Okay, so one more thing about this, and then we'll talk more about the how part, is your clients can become your fanatics, particularly if they met you through this very authentic system. So they became aware, they're a friend, they became interested, we get to know each other better. I'm not trying to get you to buy, you're not trying to get me to buy. Over time, there's a desire, I think I want to do business with you. And then now it's like, wow, that was a great experience. That calculator that you showed me, what's wrong in my business. I'm going to share that with my friends, right? And so there's this trust that gets built where you really, really want to honor those people that you are doing business with, that you feel like you have this very authentic relationship and their product is good. So what I believe is take those same tips and tools that you're putting into the marketplace as you're growing your friends who follow, share them with your current clients, because they're going to be reminded to share it with others, and they're going to be reminded of it's an authentic relationship and I love doing business with you. And before you know it, it's taking off. But it's not by accident. A lot of times companies grow accidentally and they don't know why. This is really thought through. And you really think about the things, what are the things that my customers and my target market need before they buy? Do they need decision tools? Do they need ROI calculator? Do they need an assessment? Do they need an infographic that has information? Do events, is a podcast going to help them? And then you share it with your existing clients. And every time they receive it, they're like, oh yeah, I'm reminded to share that because they trust that authentic relationship. Okay, last thing, and then we'll have time for questions, is how do you communicate value? So as I was building this, after I failed miserably the first couple of years of our portfolio, and I mean miserably, it was tough. And I have to tell you, Carrie Freeman Parsons, some of you know, she's been involved with Conscious Capitalism for a long time. She's a very good friend of mine. She'd been a client. And had it not been for her, I'm not sure I would have made it through those first couple of years of failure, because I hadn't had a whole lot of failure up until that point. But oh my gosh, the first couple of years of having a conscious business, I failed more than I can even imagine. I lost more money than I can even imagine. And so after this was happening and Carrie was encouraging me, we would meet for coffee and she would say, come to a Conscious Capitalism event, it'll pick up your spirits. And I'd go, and she was right. And so as I was kind of sorting this out and developing this method that I just shared with you, one of the areas I stumbled on was, how do I communicate my value? Again, I'm classically trained and had been a top executive known for growing top line revenues of companies of all sizes. So this, how do you communicate value, was almost like I had this salesy part of me that I didn't like. And I thought, okay, that's not going to work, because I would get to that point where I built a relationship with somebody, and then I started thinking, how do I get you to buy? How do I get you to buy? And I was like, ooh, I don't like that. So I had to really work on how to communicate value. And I, with the time left, I want to share that with you because it really helped me. And invariably, the thing I'm most proud of is when someone buys from me, they say, I never felt like you sold to anything to me. And I'm like, you're right, I didn't. And I don't even try. Even when I'm hurting for cash flow or whatever, I don't try. I just have this value wins mindset. So I had to develop a way to systematically, methodically, consistently communicate my value. And I want to share that with you. So at the top is friend, follower, fan, fanatic, right? So we've been through that. What this graph is designed to show is, in the beginning of the relationship, so we're just becoming friends, we're aware of each other. Let's just use today's event. If you weren't aware of me and you came to this event, you're probably not thinking about, well, who is this person? What does she offer? You're probably not thinking about that. You're probably thinking about, my problem is I really want to learn to grow from a values-based perspective. So what happens is, in the very beginning of any relationship, I'm not focused on what you do. I'm focused on the problem that I have. When I met with Jennifer a couple of years ago, when I first met her, I said, I want to learn more about what you do. It wasn't because I wanted to sell her anything. It wasn't because I really was like, hey, our CFO is going to be retiring. I've got some things I got to think through. That's my problem. Tell me what you do, because I've got this problem I'm going to have to solve in the next 18 months. I want to know more about what you do. So at the very beginning of the relationship with the other person, they are not thinking about you. They don't even care about you. They're coming into that thinking about the problem they have. And you can't forget that, because most of the time when we think we are being authentic and we're promoting ourselves authentically, we are promoting what we do. We're not talking about what the buyer's problem is. And that was one of the hardest things for me to break. And I'm going to show you how I did it in a second, but you got to switch that up. When you go to that networking event, you go to a Conscious Capitalism event, and you meet somebody and you're like, hey, this is somebody that I think we could have, a relationship here. Like, I could buy from you, you could buy from me. Don't start talking about what you do. Ask them questions. So, so why are you at the Conscious Capitalism event? What are you struggling with? Why are you struggling with that? And the more that you can engage them in them talking about their problem, the more authentic the relationship is, and the more likely it is to grow. Now, on the bottom is what happens over time. On the top is how important it is to them. After you go through that initial, getting to know each other, and you really feel heard, and you really feel like, wow, they really get me. And there's that mutual sense of we understand each other. What starts to happen is they start to then care about what you offer, not before. And again, if you think of what most people do, they go to a networking event and it's like Tonka dump truck. I'm gonna tell you, I got my 30-second elevator speech, and then I got my card, and then I got my brochure, and then I got this. That's completely the inauthentic way to do that. Instead, go to that networking event, meet somebody, and ask them questions. What are the challenges? Why did you join Conscious Capitalism? Tell me more about your business. What are you struggling with? And if they're not in your target market, introduce them to somebody who is in their target market. Make that match. But what will happen is when you meet a prospect and you've had that very authentic engagement in the beginning, they then become interested in learning more. If they potentially might need your services, this will switch, and it's all very authentic. And now what happens is that orange line represents, I want to know, I'm interested in you, and I'm interested in what you offer. And that is actually the real sale. It's not the transaction at the end. The real sale is how many of your potential buyers begin to see you as the solution to their problem. That's the magic. You want to grow friends who follow. And the way that you do that is how many of your potential buyers begin to see you as the solution to their problem. Because what will happen is they will want to learn more. They will ask for the meeting with you. They will listen to your podcast. They will attend your event, not because you're trying to sell to them, but because they see you as a solution to their problem. And I always say that the most important sale isn't the transaction. It's this magical point right here where somebody says, you might have a solution to my problem. I want to get to know you better. And now the relationship begins to build and grow very authentically. And this is when the potential buyer begins to see you as the solution. It doesn't mean they're going to buy yet. It just simply means that they see you as that solution. There was a commercial, and if I had time, I would pull it up, where a family was sitting at the table, and the man was thinking about buying a car, and the car started really small, and then you could see him doing some research, and the next night at the table, the car was on his forehead and it's a little bigger, and then he was doing some more research, and then it was bigger. That's what happens is their interest in you grows the more they see you as a solution to their problem. And from that point, as long as you don't try to get them to buy, the relationship will evolve. And here's the beautiful thing, just serve them until they are ready to buy. You don't need to ask them. You don't need to say, do you want a proposal? You don't need to say, here's the shop now link. Just serve them until they're ready to buy. And that's the piece that I'm going to show you that I had to crack. So here's how this works. This is going to be a little more for B2B because it's easier to see in B2B. But the exact same thing works if you're selling a product or you're selling to consumers. The exact same thing will work. So think of it as a conversational model. If it's B2B, it's going to be an actual conversation. If it's B2C, you're going to try to create the same thing on your website. So if it's B2B and we met, and so I met Jennifer and Danielle, and I was like, wow, these guys are really great. I really want to learn more about you. And I remember Jennifer saying very authentically, I don't know if she did it conscious or not. So what made you want to reach out to me? What are the challenges that you have? And she started asking me these questions very authentically. And I started sharing, well, our CFO is going to be retiring, and these are the things I'm trying to work through. And what happens is that authentic conversation then goes to step 2. And I like to treat these as a conversation with a friend or a close colleague. I'm not trying to sell to you. I just legitimately want to know what your challenges are. Now, if, for example, the person is not in my target market, I'm going to try to at least make an introduction for them of somebody that could help them. If they're not a fit for me, I'm going to at least try to make the introduction because I want to serve them well. But let's say that we keep going and we think there might be a fit. Oops. And I think, there we go, just out of order. So rather than jumping right to well, let me tell you about what we do and all this kind of stuff. I would encourage you to take this second step. I feel like I win, if you will, on this second step because it grounds me in service. It grounds me in value. So rather than telling you about why we're great, what I do is, well, what have you tried? What are the types of solutions that you think will work for your business? Why do you think those will work for your business? And what happens is we begin to build this relationship, having a conversation about value and what's important to them. And then when I think I believe we could serve them, rather than saying, well, click here, or do you want a proposal? I just say my close, if you will, is, this reminds me of my friend Bob. And Bob's situation was this, and this is the action that we did together, and here's the result that we got. It's called SAR, Situation Action Result. And that's the close, if you will. So as you can see, is you're asking these questions, you're having these conversations with someone, and you're basically understanding their problems, but you're also understanding the solution in their mind. That's where most sales get off track is, I'm thinking you have orange and you actually have a banana. And so we're off track. Is taking that extra step will really help you understand what the solution is. And then the value part is, rather than talking about why you are great, just simply tell a story of someone you helped. Here was the situation, here was the action, here was the result. Okay, I'm going to end with this and then we'll take some questions. So my grandfather was my first entrepreneurial mentor. He is the hero in my life. I would not be here if it were not for him. I grew up with alcoholic parents who beat me and abused me. We were in a 600 square foot trailer, very, very poor. And he was my angel on earth. And this one particular scenario, he had a juice bar in Sarasota, Florida. And we were dirt poor. I mean, we were poor. We were like, there's a 600 square foot trailer that was falling apart. And I would go from school to his juice bar, and he would watch me until my parents left the bar at 8 o'clock at night. And I would stay there with him till about 8 o'clock at night. And this one particular event, he had this stack of dollars that were tips, and he set it in front of me, and I was like freaking out because we were so poor. And I'm like, Grandpa, look at all that. And he says, what is that, honey? And I said, it's money. And he said, no. He said this. He said, this is profit. And profit is the tip your customers give you when you serve them well. So I want to end with that, and I'll turn it back to Jennifer. Not only should you not be afraid of profit, or should you not feel that dissonance, but profit is the tip customers give you when you serve them well. And if you can put your purpose and your value together with growth, you can significantly increase your impact. And that, my friends, is how you win with value. And it's been an honor serving you today. And I sincerely hope that you can take a few tips today, put them into play so that you can grow your impact. So Jennifer, I'll turn it back to you.
Woo! Thank you, Terri. Yeah, I think that is definitely well deserved. I don't know if you can see them all, Terri, but you're getting quite a round of applause. So thank you so much. I want to turn this over to the group here at large. If you have a question for Terri, can you raise your hand? I can't believe there's no questions after all of that.
I have a question for Terri.
I'll go. I have a question.
But okay.
Go right ahead.
No,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
do
I'll
Scott and then Cindy.
Hey there, Terri. Thank you. Really illuminating and helpful as always. It's a bit in the weeds. It's a tactical question, but it popped up when you were talking about what not to do when you transition someone into the actual sale. So, do you want a proposal, which is what we do, which we'll stop doing. But I was wondering on a website, so our marketers encourage us to put, buy now, get the deal now, call us now, pretty much all over the website. And am I understanding that that's not the tactic we want to use with conscious capitalism? Thank you, Terri.
Yeah, that my experience in both doing this for my own companies, growing my own companies, and we have 2 companies that do this for other companies, it doesn't work. And what happens is you end up getting very focused on the conversion, and that really sends you astray. What you can do is we're all about relationships. We'd love to connect to learn more about your needs. If it's B2B, if it's B2C, try to come up with something that they could try, or an infographic. Before you buy from us, I would really like, we would like for you to understand a little more about why we do what we do, and then give them an infographic or something like that. And then what we found in both doing this for our own companies and doing it for others, if you can get their email address, and then you can focus the email follow-up on building the relationship and continuing to build the relationship, you will significantly increase your sales without having that very buy now, gotta buy it today type of experience.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Cindy, and then Elizabeth.
All right. So thank you, Terri. It was very enlightening. I loved the presentation. Great job. So I had a guest on the call, but unfortunately, he's part of our Be Local group. He had to hop off. So he asked me to ask this question. And I was trying to remember too in the beginning when you talked, but he loved the framework he was saying. But what he was missing, he wasn't sure how to ask you was, so who is my customer? So in the beginning of the conversation in the framework is, how do you, in your process, recommend determining how to figure out who is your customer? So they don't have to listen to the recording.
Yeah, so let me actually give you a picture of that.
Okay.
If you don't mind, because this was also one of my big mistakes, because I'm a marketer, and, I know how to do target marketing, doesn't work. So let me show you my little tried and true measure for that. What I have found as a conscious entrepreneur is it's really about who you want to serve, not who's buying from you. And so the tool that we use when we train conscious entrepreneurs is we start with the question, who do you actually want to serve? Okay. Forget about who's showing up. I built a very successful business on who showed up, based on what I was talking about, and ended up not liking serving them. They weren't authentic. They weren't conscious. So start with the question, who do I actually want to serve? Then basically say, can I serve them, offer something of value? And sometimes it will shrink just a little bit, because some of the folks that you might want to serve, it's not really a fit. So you kind of like think of this as a filtering. And then, will I actually enjoy working with them? And then you can build this. This is for one of our actual businesses, Ignite on Purpose. So then you build the widest target. Who's the widest target that I would enjoy working with? Mm-hmm. In my case, it's founder CEOs. Although I do work with larger companies, I really prefer working with founders. I know that about myself. What's the thing I would like them to have next? I really want them to care about their brand. So they need to be businesses with a brand that cares about their brand. Why? Because I'm going to care about your brand. I want you to care about your brand. Now, you'd think that every founder cares about their brand. That's not true. Those traditional companies that are just trying to sell stuff, they don't really care. Just put it out there, get it done, make sales. And then, who's my dream target? In my case, it's conscious brands. For this particular company, it's conscious brands, just over $1 million. Like that group. I love them because they're at this sweet spot where I know that we can hit it out of the park. I know they care about their brand because we're going to care about your brand, and they're a founder. So you use those questions on the previous slide, and then you use this filtering process, but it starts with, who would you actually want to serve? And then once you have this, I'm not a big believer in like personas and, all that type of stuff, because I think that takes you down the wrong road. Like, let's keep it really simple. Ask yourself those questions, and not think about who's buying today, but who do I actually want to serve? Who would I love working with? What else would I like them to have? And then what's my dream target? And whatever those three things are, that becomes the target market.
Very great. Thank you, Terri. Appreciate that.
That was genius right there.
Yeah.
That was worth the whole. I love that. Cindy, thank you for
Amazing.
asking that question. Elizabeth.
Well, actually, I don't think I had my hand raised, but I will use this opportunity to say that I've heard some of these things a couple of times, and what I kind of a testimonial to the process is that it's useful throughout the life of your business. Because I used it in the beginning when I was starting my business, and I don't know how many times I've been through demand generation exercises or revisiting the target client, because you don't get it right the first time, and it's through a process of experimentation, and not so much going. I know Terri used the word fail a lot, but it's like learning almost more than failing. You're heading in the right direction, but this is a method for discovering. And you just keep peeling it back, and it gets better and better. So, can't say I've, nailed it yet, especially the P word, but, getting there. So I just want a good opportunity to just say it's kind of evergreen, useful throughout your journey.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hi, Danielle.
Yeah. Hi. I have a question. Hi, Terri. Could you go back to the chart where the ones that you choose? Because I got distracted, phone rang, and there was a third column, and I don't know if I missed it, but or if it was blank, why was it blank? And it's just a missing for me on the options of what you choose to do.
Yeah, let me
priority.
I'll save a version of it, because I will send you guys the PDF so you have it, and I'll take that out. So we'll make this the handout, and then I can take them off there. All right. So
because then my other question had to do with that is, how many do you recommend that you try? Do you one at a time? Do you do 2 or 3? How do you keep it kind of straight for yourself when there are so many options, if you will?
Yeah. So pick 3 and implement those 3 and pay attention to which ones you like. And like, oh, wow, I really like doing podcasts. Why do I like doing podcasts? Oh, because I like doing thought leadership stuff. Okay, what are the other ideas that I can do? So start with 3. And then anytime I drop one, I pick up another. So I'm always working 3. And I schedule them on my calendar and do them, as a way of generating demand. So priority are like the easy ones. So these are all stuff that I think every founder should be doing, whether you're business. I mean, I've got a multi-million-dollar portfolio of brands, and I do all of these things today. I still leave my little cards everywhere I go. And again, people are like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, but I do it because I'm like, this card is meant to serve. Here's partner channel. And then paid, I took paid off of there, but it works well with paid. What you're doing with paid is, rather than using something to try to get someone to buy, what we encourage that you do is, if you're going to use paid to give them something of value. So when we use paid in, say, ShiftCo, we're not saying, buy your membership today. What we're saying is, hey, here's an event that you might be interested in. So and we do this for all of our clients as well. When we're doing paid is typically to build awareness and interest. It's not designed to sell. And you have to be careful, because if you use a marketing company, and again, I have 2, a lot of times the paid is really around selling rather than starting the relationship. And again, this is about maybe 15% of the ideas that you could come up with. So the trick is, find 3, do those 3, ask yourself, did I like them? Did I not like them? One or 2 you didn't really care for, or maybe you just felt like it was didn't really land, drop, and then pick up a couple of more, schedule them on your calendar, do them with the pure intention of building friends who follow. Does that help, Danielle?
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Great. Thank you. Richard.
Yes. Hi. Back to slide 8. Can you talk about it's like a value system, or say, hey, if you can put points or something, saying, hey, these are the things that give you a better return or a higher more value, can you like put something on there like, hey, this is worth 5 points, this is worth 10, well, this is probably only going to worth you 1. No, I'm sorry. Presentation it was back where you were just a little while ago, where the different areas for the paid and.
All right. Yep. All right. So great question. I get asked that a lot, and we measure them because we have those 2 marketing companies. We measure this kind of stuff ad nauseum. What I can tell you as a founder is the things that will work the best are the things you enjoy the most. It's not the same, like what works for me won't work for you. You might love networking. I don't, right? I love getting a chance to speak. You might not. So what really, really works is doing activities where your buyer is, where they're hanging out, doing things that you enjoy, and doing them with a heart of service. That's the secret. It's not this works better than this. It's truly unique to you versus me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Other questions? Going once. No, okay. Terri, we're getting lots of comments. I don't know. I just want to share a couple for those of you who don't see the chat, but lots of, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn. There's a way to connect with Terri on LinkedIn. Her link is in here. Lots of people, Terri, saying thank you, and you're so great with sharing your passion and gifts to purpose-driven entrepreneurs. This is exactly how I'm building my business, building relationships and showing up by being a service to people and what it is that they need. So some really great affirmation there. Great presentation, so much value. I mean, so powerful. I'm just loving these comments. So terrific insights. Yes, absolutely. In the next few minutes that we have to share together, I just wanted to first again, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of this wonderful methodology with us. I think really understanding where having that purpose and knowing what that is and knowing who and how you want to serve really does drive profit. And it's been proven over and over and over and over. And to actually have a framework to follow in order to do that is so incredibly helpful. So again, Terri, thank you so much for sharing with us. A couple of announcements for the chapter. Our next event is a social, which is very exciting. We like socials, which give you the opportunity, unless you're Terri. Terri doesn't like socials. Made that clear, got it. But a really great way to come together in person. Please don't let the lunch and learns take away from the value of connecting in person, where you can ask those questions and learn more about one another and how we can serve. That event is March 27th, starting at 4:30 in the afternoon. And Kim, do we have a location? Not yet. Okay, save the date. Oh, Chris, hi. Do we have a location?
Yeah, it's at the First United Plano location.
Oh, awesome. Okay, perfect. So thank you for that. First United on right off Dallas Parkway in Plano and Parkwood. It's a beautiful location, by the way. So hopefully you will be able to join us there. And I also wanted to make everyone aware, March 27th. Thank you. Save the date. That Conscious Capitalism, Inc. is bringing back an incredibly powerful event being co-sponsored by the Dallas chapter here. So we've got a team of folks on our chapter helping plan all of this. This is a life-changing event. It is very similar to the CEO Summit that Conscious Cap puts on annually, that really is more of an exclusive, invite only, you have to be nominated event. This conference that we're bringing in May is open to everyone. We invite you to learn more, and Kim, thank you for putting the link in here. You can learn more about the Conscious Cap conference coming up May 9th and 10th. There you go. We are a growing chapter. If anyone is interested in learning more about Conscious Cap Dallas and what we do and why we do it, or how to join, please feel free to stay on this chat. Shelly and I will hang out. I don't know if Elise is still on, and we'd love to tell you more about who we are and what we do and what our purpose is and how we might be able to serve you. And with that, I will give you 7 minutes back, unless you're welcome to stay on and chat with us. And thank you so much for